The Diary of a Certified Psychopath. Off the crank. Between bedazzlement. Chief amongst today's traditional annual duties was the painstaking reconstruction of our long-leaning family Christmas tree, a proud seasonal ritual that no festive celebrations would be complete without. This cherished heirloom, originally acquired at a Harrods sale in the only year prior to 1967 that London's iconic department store permitted male customers wearing non-matched three-piece suits to enter, has survived no fewer than 4 house moves, almost half a century of the bleakest British winters, albeit from the comfort of at least 10 cosy living rooms, witness those magic moments that give tangible meaning to the indescribable concept of pure joy and allow young hearts to relive their fondest childhood memories, and outlasted the filament or LED-powered bulbs in more than a dozen sets of fairy lights. Its once opulent limbs were laden with luminous glass baubles, coloured a subtle blend of azure and turquoise blue, with frosty rings around their conical caves. However, just as its coniferous cousins have shaken loose their scented needles, so too has this increasingly fragile relic shed enough tinsel with each passing year to warrant daily sweeps until the 12th night, filled more dustpans than any of Shoreham's liberal drinking taverns manage during progressively destructive toasts between Boxing Day and New Year's Eve, and in recent times clogged up the patented dual filter system within a Dyson D8's bagless chamber. Moreover, owing to a combination of Newtonian laws, unyielding floors, and brandy butterfingers, at least one breakage per assembly is inevitable. Thank the merciful heavens that for the first time in more than 5 decades of infallible service, construction took place over a thick and densely woven carpet, supplied and fitted last spring by our town's most prominent high street dealer in premium quality floor coverings. During a collaborative and convivial build process that occupied almost exactly the same portion of otherwise idle time as this casually clad plod to forage some post-ceremonial refreshments, an even distribution of decorations was achieved, with almost every balding branch bearing its blessed specular sphere, and no squabbles amongst them as to which received one of a classic or contemporary mould. And then, on the eve of Britain's second most pagan celebration, as several million solar-powered fairy lights draped across guttering and coiled up drain pipes prepared to outsparkle the incandescent fire of our roadside's totemic torchbearers, further arrays of coloured flames glowed amidst the unkempt hedges, slumbering trees, and fallow flower-beds of Shoreham's residential gardens, or from the broad balconies of their neighbouring abodes, and across the chimney-pots of steeply pitched rooftops, all fastidiously arranged to form familiar festive figures, seasonal iconography, and timeless nativity settings amidst kaleidoscopic blizzards. These dazzling displays would no doubt give St. Nicholas a fighter pilot's chance to steer his heavy goods sleigh through the sleety squalls and freezing fog banks for a safe landing, whereupon his ravenous reindeer could devour 2 toffee carrots and a Morrison's gluten-free mince pie, whilst their faithful master warmed his trembling timbers with several shots of bone-dry sherry, before stuffing the bamboo stockings belonging to his devoted believers with their requested assortments of luxury gifts. This terminally localised loiter around my hometown's free-to-air fitness mecca and veritable Swiss Army knife for omni-seasonal circuit training was supposed to be an excursion to the hanging gardens of Rottingdean, where one historic Christmas I was soaked by a wave that crashed into the end of its High Street's adjacent pier, which overlooks the eastern extreme of a captivating under-cliff walk that itself commences at Brighton Marina. However, Best-laid plans drifted astray due to a combination of domestic obligations and neglecting to charge my Phoenix's near-flat battery. Hence, some steady lapse of the peninsula's outer perimeter seemed a viable compromise. Scandalously unstructured throughout 40-odd tolerably toilsome minutes, though repeated attacks from a snarling northeasterly that harboured Siberian bite added several degrees of ambient discomfort. Power meter's balance seemed excessively lopsided, with an average of almost 50 watts higher reported for the right pedal stroke, despite one recalibration and conscious attempts to spin in smooth circles during both high and low cadence intervals. Distribution for each revolution appeared relatively even, and yielded a combined output of roughly 160 watts or 2.6 per kilogram for the ride's duration. By Dr. Garmin's impulsive reckoning, this true blue average required roughly 70% of my aerobic limits to sustain, some beats above what would be typical for bass tempo bang, and again a zonal disparity that reflects my willingness to trade marginal gains for diminishing pains. Midnight Mass, a schism. And, as if to gnaw off my frostbitten knuckles to spite two wind-burned cheeks, today's Arctic conditions proved that our climate clairvoyant's festive forecasts can still be correct on more occasions than a broken sundial. Elemental resistance was cranked up to double during all eastbound drags, triggering my trademark stem-chinning stoop, amplified by at least 20 roaring decibels, drowning out all but the loudest sections of Malcolm Arnold's Tam O'Shanter Overture, a sonic warhorse guaranteed to stimulate any musically susceptible rider's adrenal glands, and lastly, harboured sufficient sentient chill to turn Rudolph's nose the deepest shade of royal purple, long before his master had planned a safe route back to Lapland. Several strictly unstructured circuits around the broad beach loop, combined with a few acts of squiggly evasion, felt every lung-busting beat as strenuous as what Professor Polar's cold readings classed as a 3/4-hour thrash, but earned me a guesstimated power average meaner than Bob Cratchit's Christmas bonus, due to Strava's innate obliviousness to the detrimental combination of crippling crosswinds and drag-deficient clothing. Worse yet, for all its experience-enhancing features, and despite being gifted unlimited access to its founding platform's vast repository of user data, Strava's multifunctional app is still not able to directly connect with the majority of power meters and cadence sensors. Heart rate monitors could initially be paired, provided they supported Bluetooth, the contemporary smartphone's prevalent protocol for pairing wireless devices, though this useful feature was temporarily removed before being reinstated when Strava launched its last major update, which redesigned the app's GUI, added real-time segment monitoring, 3D replays, a visually improved training calendar, and of course, athlete intelligence, enabling the autonomous analysis of all recorded activities alongside their personalised summaries. Tried adding both my SRM pedals, though neither was discoverable within the app, regardless of whether they were configured in single or dual-sided mode, whilst Strava still officially recommends that any external sensors besides heart rate monitors are connected to a bike computer or activity tracker, if the user wishes to include their applicable data within any uploaded files for review and analysis. And on the sacred annual dawn that all gift-bearing boxes are unboxed, no touchscreen compatible gloves in answer to my telepathically texted list for Auntie Claus's kind consideration, though the scented cinnamon and citronella candle bundled in a party pillowcase brimming with such other goodies as sandalwood deodorant, factory-bagged vanilla and redbush tea, claimed by its premium brand to gratify the consumer's taste buds with a uniquely half-bodied flavour that perfectly complements, say, a tin of organic Stollen nibbles, did help thaw out two tingling palms upon returning from this distinctly pedestrian spin to and from the coastal epicentre of our country's self-proclaimed seaside capital. though before a single choppy pedal stroke was executed, I'd squandered at least 15 minutes reattaching the removable sleeves of my long unused Gore Windstopper jersey, which uses a convoluted zipper system consisting of 2 opposing fasteners on each arm, that I'm certain most Rubik's Cube champions would find a stiff challenge to decipher. Cast off with my worst foot forward down Harbour Way, pedalling in soft, smooth pentagons until I'd bridged across the receding river before swinging right for an extended slog through Southwick's corrugated fortresses, narrowly escaping the ravenous jaws of a bodiless great white shark, whose statuesque form still roams the shallow grasses of Fishersgate's neatly manicured recreation ground, appearing every bite as menacing as its ocean-dwelling counterpart, though not quite cementing the fearful myth embodied by one of Steven Spielberg's earliest cinematic ventures. No other vicious apex predators troubled me till I'd reached the Palace Pier, where herring gulls eyed the piping hot doughnuts, pink cotton candy, and king-sized cornetto ice creams of unsuspecting pedestrians with a palpably Hitchcockian disposition. Headed home via the bustling city's spacious Cychopath, which has proven a surprisingly safe and efficient solution for self-propelled travellers ever since the pandemic, even if today it was overrun with excited tots eagerly road-testing a variety of wheeled tree presents, including kick scooters, segways, skateboards, and remote-controlled monster trucks, nearly all of which had evidently come with souped-up motors and ultra-high-capacity lithium-ion batteries soldered to their circuit boards, and conveyed their cargoes at average speeds far faster than I was willing to match, following another full-on face flaying, meted out by our fiendishly frigid northeasterly alliance.